So I guess we're going to go ahead and get started. So Nim, I guess I'll turn it over to you for the intro.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Connections. I wanted to just take a really brief second to introduce myself. If you haven't met me before, my name is Nimra Obi. I'm a program manager for higher education. And also on the line today is Natalie O'Neill, who's the director of higher ed, and Juliana Vidal, who's our other program manager for higher ed. So you'll see all of us kind of around on the Zoom today. If any of you have any technical issues or whatnot, just send us a message and we'd be more than happy to help you out. So on the next slide. Before we start, just thank you to our sponsors, without whom the Green Chemistry Connections would not be possible. And on the next one, before we actually get going, I did want to run through our land acknowledgements. So we do wish to acknowledge this unceded land on which Beyond Benign operates. And for years, it's been the traditional land of the Pawtucket and the Massachusetts nations. We do acknowledge the painful history of genocide, colonialism, and forced removal from this territory, and also that on our part, further education is needed to learn the full history of the land that we do occupy and all the Indigenous peoples it belongs to. And presently, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous nations across Turtle Island, and we do honor, respect, and celebrate the diversity of peoples that are connected to this land. And we also acknowledge that because we're in a virtual space today, us and our attendees, so all of you are occupying unceded land and territories belonging to Indigenous nations across the world. And in terms of what we're doing on our part, we are committing to educating ourselves, to supporting Indigenous communities, and to decolonizing our organization. And we do encourage you as our attendees today to do the same. And if you are at all curious about how we put together this land acknowledgement, there is a following list of resources and a link at the bottom of the slide there, which the slides will be made available after the session. So please do take a look at that. In terms of just some logistics things, you may see that some of us have indicated our pronouns in our names. So you can just rename yourself on Zoom to include your pronouns. And if you want as well to include where you're coming from, or you can drop that in the chat. Live transcript is enabled today. So the transcript will be made available afterwards. And so will the slides. And there's some more resources there at the bottom of the slide for you if you'd like to take a look there. Again, just a reminder about our code of conduct, which you will have seen when you were in the waiting room. One thing to remember today, because we have breakout rooms and networking rooms, is just to give everyone a chance to say what they would like to say and make sure that everyone gets a turn to speak. One thing that I did want to do before we kind of get into the bulk of the connections today is that every connections we like to celebrate our newest green chemistry commitment signers. And today we have 4 that I would like to highlight. So Tai Solarin University from Nigeria, UBC from Canada, NC State University, and St. Edward's University from the US, which is super exciting. So please join me in welcoming those. And then last but not least, please do join the conversation online today. I believe it's actually Juliana who will be live tweeting, unless I got that wrong. But you can follow us on all these social media platforms and by using these hashtags. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to John, who is our guest host for today's Connections.
Awesome. Thanks, Nim. So I'm super excited to be back guest hosting these connections today. This is the second part of our 2-part series. The previous one we had in February. So we're really excited to have a great selection of speakers today, wonderful perspectives from all over the world. And so we'll get into that in a second. But I did want to provide a little bit of context and talk a bit about the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. So I can't take any credit for this because this is our higher education team that does and spearheads this wonderful commitment. But this is a consortium program. And for a little bit of background, for those who don't know, the goal is really to help expand the community of green chemists across the world. And this is to help grow departmental resources, improve connections across academia and industry, as well as affect systemic and lasting change within chemistry education. So a lot of this is focused really on a set of student learning objectives. and helping to sort of instill those within departmental culture across departments and universities across the world. So currently we have about 116 signers globally, all different countries and continents. And of course, if you'd like more information, please don't hesitate to reach out. But the important thing about this is really building community. And that's the goal of this virtual session, which we had originally scheduled as part of the Atlantic Basin Conference on Chemistry, which was back in December, but due to circumstances had to be moved to a virtual version. So we're really excited to be hosting this. And again, it's a chance to see some of the perspectives on green chemistry education from different parts of the world, share best practices, and see how we can work together to help build that sense of community and that forward direction in terms of helping to improve chemistry education globally.